agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined live and in studio by my sidekick, Sharon McNamara.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sharon McNamara is the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate and also a team member of McNamara Horton Group. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
It is correct. Mm-hmm. And you have a new listing today.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm sort of dressed and ready to go.
Dressed and ready to rumble. I'm doing an open house
I'm going to be doing an open house, 11 to 1. I'll be over at Jefferson Square.
Yeah.
So, come and visit me. Jefferson Square, right across from Dairy Twist. So I did 11 to 1. So if you want to go get an ice cream afterwards, feel free.
Are you going to be getting an ice cream today?
Yeah, and one of the things I always say about when I have listings over in that area is like the only downfall to having a listing in this neighborhood is that Dairy Twist is across the street from it. And those of you know, the Dairy Twist has like the best. Well, I mean, all ice cream seems similar, but they have good ice cream, but they give good serving sizes.
So, I've actually never had Dairy Twist. So,
well, you can't eat dairy.
Well, I wonder if they have I know other places have dairy-free options. So I wonder if
sorbet, I'm sure, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I went to Heidi's Hollow this past weekend, and they have
they do a couple vegan options, and they have sorbet.
Yeah, they have sorbet. I had sorbet. Saw the owners. They have a little Frenchie as well, and and that's the other thing too is I believe she's one of the owner's moms. She came out and she said, "Oh, I listened to your show. That was a really good show you did on feng shui." So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So, hello to her. She never gave me her name. So, if you're listening this morning, I really appreciate you listening in every week with us. And so I was the original listing agent on that entire development over there at Jefferson Square. Kevin Sealand was his job, especially with his finish work. I mean, he does a good job throughout, but I love his finishes. Mm-hmm. So come and visit me. Excuse me. I think, is it 595?
595 Washington Street, Unit 7. Yep, in Pembroke.
End unit. There's only 4 of them, so come and see us.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we're on for $639.9.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of people listening to us, we know that you guys are out there because somebody called Sharon the other day and just said that, that she listens to the show. I did give her a little shout out on Tuesday when I was on with Faith talking about septic systems in Title V. But I believe her name was Mary Ellen in Marshfield. Yes. She gave you a call and just said that she listened to the show and she wanted to suggest a topic. Yeah. So in true Sharon fashion, she said, absolutely, we're doing it on Saturday. So here we are, and we are going to be talking about concessions and, closing costs, maybe coming back at closing.
Yeah, and contingencies and things like that. I figured we could mix the two together. And if Mary Ellen is listening, I did write down your address because I was like, oh, thank you for being such a faithful listener. I will. Actually, she lives in one of Kevin Sealand's developments. I said, thank you for being such a faithful listener. If I could have your address, I will send you a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know where the piece of paper went. Because I was home. I was working from home that day. What do I have in my hair?
You had a little fuzzball. Sorry.
Sorry. I did my hair and everything today. What do you think?
Oh, look at you looking fabulous.
Yeah, I know. I wish Kristen was here because she's always looking at herself in the in the camera there.
I'm lucky I get a shower in the morning.
Yeah, well, you were working late last night too, I'm sure. So if you are listening, you can call into the studio if you have any questions for us. Do it just like Mary Ellen did. I mean, she reached out to me. You can reach out to me directly at 781-294-4848, or you can call the studio this morning, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. You can also text. We have Tim in studio. Hello, Tim.
Hello. Hello. Good morning, Sharon and Melissa. Happy Star Wars Day.
Oh, yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with us.
Yes.
That's interesting. I don't know that I've ever watched one Star Wars movie.
Oh, not one?
No, well, maybe because it's like R2-D2. Is that the thing?
Yes, very good. Yep, that's the small blue and white one. And then, can you tell me the name of the
Yoda,
the gold droid, the one that talked with the accent?
What's his name?
Mr. Spock?
No, that's Star Trek. Oh boy. No, you the other one's C-3PO.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What about Yoda? Was Yoda part of that?
Yoda's the
Yeah. I just like its name.
Yoda.
They named it right, don't you think?
You must.
When you
does look like a Yoda.
Yeah, when you think
And
of it,
then-
he looks like a Yoda.
And then you have the younger Baby Yoda, Grogu, which is on the Mandalorian series.
I guess you're a fan.
A little bit, just a little bit.
You're so funny. Well, may the 4th be with you
Yes.
as well.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I have to tell a funny story, and we always do this. For those of you who don't like our funny stories, just tune in at 8:30, and then you'll hear more about real estate. But, we were at the beginning of the year, Melissa and I, and Julia, who is our office coordinator, we were sitting in the office. And remember, we were going through all like the holidays, the national holidays, and we were going through all that. And they said a date, and I didn't know what it was. And I was like, oh, is that like the pot day? I was like, we get the pot day off now? But I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. It was just not, I don't even think it was in the month of April.
I know.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't know.
Now, Sharon, when you say pot day, what are you talking about?
Isn't it like something like, I don't even know. Like, that's what I mean. That's what
Now, when you say pot, are you talking about a pot you put flowers in, or the cannabis
Trying to catch it.
I think it's the cannabis type. I think
Oh.
there's a day for
Are
it,
you
isn't
talking
there?
about 420?
It's
April
420.
20th?
Yeah, but she was like, we were talking about something else, and she's like, oh, do we get that day off now? And I was like, well, yeah. And like, it was just such a confusion. And she's like,
Yeah, man,
for the pot?
off.
For the pot? We get it for the pot? I said, what?
Munchies.
The munchie show. It's a day where everybody gets to go buy a bag of Fritos.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Fritos.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, Mark and I had a great idea one time. I don't remember where we were, but they were talking about like right now we have the donut people out there, Saintly,
Oh, boy.
Saintly something or other. We don't have a box of donuts in front of us today, so we can't tell you. Hardly Saints. So they're out there today too with their donuts, and people are already lined up. But if you get a chance, but Mark and I were thinking one day, like, oh, we should do like a pot truck. Like, in one side of it, you could sell, gummies and marijuana, and then on the other side, we would sell like steak and cheese subs. That's perfect. It's a twofer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
And here's your ticket for your sub on the other side.
Oh my God. Oh, boy.
You get a discount. You get
Be a lot of happy customers.
Yes.
Many happy customers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I wish I was a pot smoker. Maybe it would calm me down.
It's it's all right, Sharon.
You don't think so?
No, because I mean, some people, some and others.
Some people just shouldn't, is what Tim is saying.
But like, if your life's going well and you're happy without it, then just skip it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes you more of what you are. And I remember I did try it,
It
like in
can.
high school and stuff. It's like that. Whatchamacallit? It's like the paranoia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also, it's good to wait too, because your brain's still developing until you're about 25 years old. Take care of it. You only get one.
You only get one. Exactly. I remember that commercial. This is your brain.
Your brain. Yes. This
Yeah.
is your brain on drugs. Any questions? Yeah. The egg
Any
and the frying
questions? No?
pan.
Moving on.
Yes.
Although who knows? We might be doing brain transplants at some point.
For we're doing implants. I mean, for
For
real.
those who don't have a brain.
Yeah, the scarecrow. For all those scarecrows out in the world.
Yeah.
So. So anyway,
all right.
let's talk about real estate.
All right, let's talk about real estate because this was something that somebody wanted us to talk about.
Yeah,
So,
she certainly didn't want to hear about all that nonsense I just brought up. For sure.
yeah, we'll cut that when we do the when we upload it. But
yeah, I also want to mention too, I have a lot of my friends from Clubhouse who are listening as well. And for those of you who have been joining me every Saturday on WATD, our listener world out there, I'm very fortunate to have many friends who are in the real estate industry throughout the country, and they can join me periodically via this Clubhouse app that I have. And we have them on there, which is nice because if you're thinking about moving anywhere around the country, I certainly have some agents that I can refer you to. So if you're looking for like-minded people like myself, I have a girl, I have a guy, I have somebody for you.
Yeah.
So again, call in 781-837-4900. All right, let's go.
All right, contingencies and concessions.
Yeah. So we started, this was very timely. So when Mary Ellen, she actually reached out to me and she sent me a message on one of the apps or whatever, but I got a text message. So I called her right away and she goes, my goodness, that was so fast. And I was like, well, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I listened to your show and I'm really interested in a topic about like seller concessions. She didn't say that. She explained what she wanted the subject to be. And I was like, oh, that's what we call a seller concession. So she said, yes. So I told her that we would discuss it this week because it really does coincide with some of the things we were talking about. Maybe not last week because last week was feng shui, but we had been talking about contingencies and things the week before. So there we go. That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Well, what is a seller concession?
Yeah. So a seller concession would be, so I hope Mary Ellen is listening right now. So seller concessions. So there are many, many different types of seller concessions. I also reached out to Jasmine to see if there was any chance that she could join us today as well, but she might not have got my text. I sent it at like 6:00 this morning. And Mark, he's a friend of mine on Facebook, to see if they could talk a little bit about this because we probably will hear more about this. This is why I thought it was extremely timely for her to request this topic. And a seller concession would be that, somebody puts in an offer. I always use 500 as a number when I'm giving examples, just so, hey, look who's coming up the stairs right now.
Oh, wow. It's
Francois. None was here. Sorry, guys, I just saw my dad. Yeah. Sorry, I'm telling you, you have to be quiet out there. So a seller concession would be, the house is on the market for 500, and perhaps the person who's buying the house doesn't have a lot of liquidity and maybe not a lot of liquid funds. So they have to have money for a down payment. They have to have money for closing costs. They have to have money for a home inspection. They have to have money if they're going to do a radon inspection. There's a lot of different moving parts and financial pieces that go to moving. Think about the moving truck. And then, we see a lot of our younger people, usually you'll try it at least once to get the U-Haul. Once in your life, you will try that. But generally after that, you're like, am I in a moving company to do all that for me? But when we moved you, Melissa, into your house, we had a crew.
I picked up the U-Haul at 8 a.m. We packed it up. We unloaded it. Redid some of the things in my house, and you guys were gone by 10:30.
Yeah, I know.
Returned the U-Haul. I told them, I'll be back tomorrow. I show up 2.5 hours later, and they're like, did you just move one thing? And I was like, no, I moved my life.
My whole life.
My whole life.
So there's a lot of costs associated, and I'm sure you saw that too, Mel.
Yeah,
the boxes, the tape, this, that, and the other thing, and you think it's ridiculous.
I went to Lowe's more times than I care to even be there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so a lot of that cost, and a lot of it adds up. So if you are, maybe it isn't even for first-time home buyers, by the way. It's a lot of people. If you're going through life changes, maybe it's a death or a divorce or a disability or a job loss or something like that. People are moving for all kinds of reasons, and sometimes they just don't have the financial, a lot of financial money, backing them. But so in this situation, if the house was on the market for 500. And the buyer doesn't have enough for their closing costs, let's say. And let's just say that the closing costs are $10,000. Again, I'm just rounding numbers just to make it easier. Then the offer would be $510,000, right? And then it would say contingent upon seller. I just lost my train of thought. Contingent upon seller contributing $10,000 towards buyer's escrow,
Prepays, escrows, closing costs, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. And we always say up to $10,000 because really, if the closing costs came to like $8,900, it isn't like you would hand someone the $10,000. Well, as a listing agent, I would look at that. I would say, all right, well, what are your closing costs?
Yeah.
I can do up to that amount.
Yeah.
So what happens is at the closing, you when you get to the balance sheet, which we call a CD now, which is a closing disclosure, on there you would see that the sale price is $510,000, but you'll also see that there's $10,000 that goes back to the buyer side, and that buyer side from there, all of their closing costs and prepaids and escrows are taken off of out of that amount. So that is what it is in a nutshell. That's what it is. And do you want to talk about the pros and cons of it, or what do you want to do?
Well, I wanted to give another example of like a closing cost would, if something came up during a home inspection or something and out of pocket, somebody didn't have the money to make that repair or something like that, they could do a seller concession at closing that would cover sort of the cost. So instead of doing that project during the timeline to keep the closing, we see that sometimes with radon. So if it needs a mitigation system and they just don't want to put one in, they'll say the mitigation system's $1,500 or something, depending on the size of the basement. They'll say, okay, we'll do a seller concession of $1,500. So that's another example.
Yeah. And they generally have to put that towards a closing cost. They can't really put it towards the mechanical issue or anything like that. So that is a good point too, because so the first scenario that I gave was maybe somebody doesn't have the liquidity in order to pay their closing costs on top of everything else that they have to do. So a seller can contribute.
Yeah.
But in this situation, maybe they do have the money available, but the seller doesn't really want to take the time, energy, and money at that point to put in the system for radon in your example, that it would just be, they would just say a seller concession of $1,500. And then that would come off the closing costs. And then that person would have that $1,500, that they didn't put towards their closing cost to put towards a radon mitigation system.
Yeah. And I feel like, when the rates were even higher than they are now, I think I heard that now they're like 7.4, 7.3. I don't know. Don't quote me. But even if when they were higher, we did see offers coming in that, were offering over asking, but then maybe doing a concession to buy down their rate.
Yes, we saw a lot of that.
So I know one of the offers I put in, it was fairly early on. It was a new product. I don't even remember what it was exactly. It was the first house, the Abington house, that it was to buy down the rate, because at that point it was higher, but then they ended up just getting higher and higher after that. So so I just went with the flow. But yeah, no, we were seeing that a lot. I wonder if we'll see it now, or if we're seeing it now.
I don't know. I probably should have thought ahead and asked Jasmine, at the beginning of the week if she could have joined us. But I mean, you never know. If there's if anybody on Clubhouse knows anybody else in Clubhouse that maybe is a loan officer and they want to join us, maybe you can pop into them. Or maybe you're a loan officer listening to WATD 781-837-4900.
Well, I was having a meeting with Julia the other day about some of the roundtable discussions that we are going to be having here at Boston Connect Real Estate coming up, because we meet or try to do a roundtable open discussion every Tuesday morning. And one of them was, I wonder if we could invite Jasmine for maybe like a lunch and learn. Once things... We did 5-6 shows about the NAR settlement, and it's ever changing. I know that they moved the date again. So, at some point we would love to have somebody come and educate us from that standpoint as well, so we can educate our client as well. And guide them in the right direction. But I think that would be a great show when it comes to the concessions that are going to be coming out of this settlement as well. So we'll have Jasmine on for that.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking her if she could join us today because, as we did talk about that in our settlement, I did bring up the fact that there's going to be a lot of people who just won't have the liquidity in order to pay their buyer's agent. And if that's what the DOJ is trying to do as well, is decouple the commissions. And I talked about this with my brother-in-law on his show last week as well, McNamara on Money with Michael McNamara from McNamara Financial. He's on right after me. I don't know what their show is about today, or I would tell you. But I did, talk to him about that and, with the DOJ trying to decouple things. And if buyers have to pay their buyer's agents directly, I just think that there's going to be a lot of people who just won't be able to afford to do that. So what happens to them? So hopefully, and I do believe that, I know that Jasmine has talked about it. It's just, I've been so busy with real estate that I really haven't been able to catch up with her or really pay attention when it's being talked about on Clubhouse, that Fannie and Freddie have now said that, they'll still be able to, I forget what the wording is. So they will be able to, pay compensation through a concession. So we shall see. Is there anyone on Clubhouse right now that knows the exact terms of all of that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would love to have her on. She's been, her and her team have been on so many times with us, and just I feel like I learn something new every single time they come on. They're just so educated on sort of the process because they're living it every day, much like we are living this life every day. But yeah, okay, let's get back to concessions.
So with the concessions, so when there's all kinds of concessions, I mean, so that one there is a financial concession, but there are, I guess, other concessions as well, right?
I guess maybe I don't want to call it like a side agreement because it's not, but like
we can't.
No,
that's illegal.
That's illegal. But like,
and I don't mean a sick bird.
Yeah,
illegal.
Oh. I was like, is that like, it's not like a murder, it's like a flock of crows or like there's a bunch of crows like,
what, isn't that a band?
No, that's flock of seagulls.
It's flock of seagulls. And
I ran so far away.
No, I thought you were saying something like, I don't know, the seagulls they're together and it's called an ill. And I was like, what?
Keep up with me.
Well, you were wrong if that was the case in my head. But what was I saying? So almost like a, I don't know if I should say it then.
Yeah. All right. So let's not. Okay.
I won't.
So one of the things, let's talk about the advantages from a buyer's perspective and the advantages maybe from a seller's perspective, but let's also look at disadvantages. Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say one of the things that has to be considered, and this is what we do when we're listing agents, one of the things I always get concerned about, and again, my job for my seller clients when I'm helping somebody sell a house is to help them get the most amount of money with the best terms and conditions for them. Generally speaking, the terms and conditions are the most important part, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, it really is, the money aspect. So in situations, I have to be watching every part of that scenario. So if a house is under agreement for 500, I mean, it's on the market for 500, and we've been seeing multiple offers on properties, which again, I've been saying that this market for 3 years now has been reckless, and I haven't changed my mind on it. I see buyers out there, bidding over. And again, I can't gauge what anybody's emotional value is. I can only tell you what I know the market value of it is, or what the value of it is. Anyways, I can tell you those things, but I can't tell you what somebody is willing to pay for it. But let's just say a house is on the market for $500,000, and then this buyer truly wants it, and they say, "I'm going to offer you $550," but then I also need another $10,000 to go towards my closing costs. So now they're at $560,000. Well, one of my concerns that I have with that is somebody who doesn't have a lot of liquidity. I mean, you're sort of showing me that if that's just because you don't have the money for the closing costs, or you're sort of tapped out. A lot of times too, these are the things and these are the questions. It's why I feel as if I'm a very strong listing agent. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So after 21 years of experience, I've learned a lot from different things and different people, right? But one of the things that I would be very concerned about is, where is that house going to appraise at? But initially, and again, I actually told this story the other day, Mel. I was doing a CMA for somebody, and I was like, oh, one of the fun things that we like to do is when we have multiple offers and you're inputting them into the spreadsheet, between me, you, and Mary, we don't tell each other which one we think would be the best offer.
Yeah.
And generally, we're always on the same page.
Yeah.
Unless you read a love letter, for goodness sake.
I haven't read one in so long.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I made the mistake. I read one day and I was like, oh, geez, I have to continue not reading these things.
Yeah, I know.
In my old age, I'm getting maybe a little soft.
Well, I feel like people stopped doing them because, they were either the listing agent wasn't allowing them, which you've done too.
Yeah.
And they stopped doing them because maybe they were just sort of burnt out at some point.
Yeah, and then it became this big thing that it was a fair housing violation and all these other things. But if people give them to me, I let the seller know. I have a check mark, don't we? It says love letter included. Yes. And I tell them, it's up to you. If you want to read them, you can. If you don't, you don't have to.
I wrote a love letter.
I know you did. Yeah. And most of the time I'll tell my clients it is part of the offer. So if you want to read it, you can, but if you don't want to, you really don't have to. But why don't you pick one based on, the numbers and everything first, and then you can read it and see if you made the right choice then. No. But with that, one of the things I'm looking at is, okay, so you don't have enough liquidity to pay your closing costs, and you went $50,000 over already of what I feel the value of this house is. Yeah. I'm confident that this house is going to appraise at 500. You came up to 550. Now you added another 10 to it. Now this house has to appraise at 560.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask you, what does it have to appraise at?
Well, if somebody who doesn't, I'm guessing that somebody who doesn't have enough money to put more money down on their down payment is probably putting 3 to 5% down.
Yeah.
Right.
And probably doesn't have in pocket something to, make the difference.
That would be my guess, because they're already asking for closing costs, right?
Yeah. Well, when we go through the spreadsheet, it's almost like we know them. We're just like, I don't know if these people, it doesn't seem on paper, it doesn't seem they have any liquid cash.
Yeah. Well, we can sort of
we always follow up, anybody who is left as a consideration. We always reach out to the loan officer if they're using, financing and stuff. So,
well, and a lot of times too, agents will write right in their offer that it's contingent upon, and this is where we get into contingency. So it's a little bit of both here this morning, concessions and contingencies. It's contingent upon the house appraising at or above the sale price.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's going to appraise at 500. It will probably appraise a little bit more than that, right? If I did my numbers right and all my data was correct. Mm-hmm. If you decided to go $60,000 over, I would say, well, do you have, are you going to fill the void there if it doesn't appraise? Generally speaking, someone who doesn't have the money for for closing costs doesn't.
Somebody asking for a concession, yeah.
But you know what, Mel? You make such a very good point, though, that you said, we do make the phone calls, because I think that that's a really important thing, is that as a listing agent, sometimes the buyer's agents, I'm not going to say that any buyer agent is terrible, but I do have to tell you, the last time we had multiple offers, I wrote next to it, this person should lose his Massachusetts license. It was so terrible. It was just awful. But I think that calling the other agent and making sure, it's like one of those things, I said this, you heard that. And sometimes if people are writing things, it just might not be accurate, but on paper, it may look this way. But if I called and said, hey, I just want to check in on you. You wrote that this has to be, it's contingent. You have an appraisal contingency in there without an appraisal gap. You've also said to me that they need, this extra $10,000 for closing costs. Mm-hmm. If there is a situation with this appraisal, is your client able to? Because just because this is what they put on paper, and again, I feel for buyers agents because they have to do what their client wants them to do. However, but think about this. It could be a situation where I call the agent and they say, you know what, they actually do have the money. They have plenty of money. They have $100,000. They would never tell me that number. But if I'm just giving an example. They have $100,000 put aside, but when they move in, they're going to be doing the kitchen and the bathrooms over.
Yeah.
And they want that money for that.
Yeah.
And then, and my question would be, well, why are they asking for $10,000 closing costs? They just want to they're just putting it in there just so they can sort of finance that.
Yeah.
So they're financing it.
Yeah. I mean, we had this discussion when I was looking too, about going over, when I was talking with you and Kristen, she was a big part of my process with Mary.
What about me? Am I chopped liver?
I literally said you first. Are you not listening to me?
I really wasn't. Sorry.
I talked to you guys about it, offering over asking, because at that point we did have I was up against a lot of offers for this particular house, and you guys asked me the question, like, if it didn't appraise, could you come up with the difference? And I said, I have it, but I'm not willing to because of my financial situation. So it's buying by myself, and the house needed work, so I did offer over asking to get the house.
Do you think me and Mark gave you the best gift ever?
What was? Oh, yeah. I thought you meant my house. I was like, no, I bought that.
You bought that house. But Mark and I gave you a really nice gift.
You did give me a really nice gift. You, do I say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
Sharon and Mark McNamara paid for my whole house to be painted before I moved in. And that was like the best gift ever.
And your kitchen cabinets.
My kitchen cabinets, yeah. And then the day of closing, like I said earlier, the day that I moved in with my 2.5 hour move, they Mark and his nephew Chris put on new handles and everything, and my put together my bed, the whole thing. And then everyone was gone, and I was like, oh, so now I live here.
And now I'm by myself.
Now I have to go get my cat, and that's it. This is it.
So back to our concessions. I just want to repeat the phone number one more time, 781-837-4900. If you have any questions about this topic or any other topic regarding real estate, I am here to answer your questions, as well as Melissa. As you know, I am the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate here south of Boston, and my team and I, Mary Horton, we cover all the areas in South Shore. So feel free to, I've actually been on the South Coast lately. We've been down towards the Cape a little bit, and so been all over. So if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, please feel free to give me a call. I am happy to help you through that process. 781-294-4848. And if you want to call in, 781-837-4900. Tim is awaiting your phone call.
Through the toll gate at Augusta.
Hello?
Oh yeah, today he's saying something about, I think isn't the horse thing today? I was going to wear a hat.
No, yeah, it is the Kentucky Derby is today.
Yeah.
But I don't know where.
No,
we don't know where that.
I know. Hold on, I know what that is. Okay. All right, this is really what I meant to do. Is this? You shall receive. We have a phone call.
We have a phone call.
Yes, and he's not upset, but
no.
This is your buddy Dick in Plymouth, and you have not got
my goodness.
his house yet.
You made me nervous.
Oh my goodness, I feel so terrible. Dick from Plymouth, how are you, my friend?
I am just Ducky.
I'm so glad. Well, you know what, Dick? Next Saturday, you should take a trip to the office because we have a donut truck that's out front. So I think that you and your wife, I don't know that we've ever gotten her real name, right? Because we call her Jane. Because Dick and Jane, it just seems very appropriate to us. And we haven't, but now that the spring is here, oh, you know what, Dick? I was listening to my friends on Clubhouse, which I'm sure you don't know what that is, but they were talking about this drink. And I actually, now that you've called, this was all done on purpose. I need some good limoncello. Can I have some of your limoncello?
Yes.
Did you have any questions for us this morning, Dick, or did you just want to put us on the spot because we haven't visited you yet?
I want to put you on the spot, number one, and two. I'm going to put you on two spots.
Okay.
When you do come, don't forget the pies and the cakes and everything, because that takes too much planning. I want this thing to be on the spur of the moment.
Okay.
All I need is a phone call. If we're home, come down. With my wife that takes care of the inside the house, it's never in disarray. It's always presentable. With me working in the yard, it's always presentable. It's never in disarray whatsoever.
Okay.
So all we need, if we're home, you guys can come down. You bring as many people as you want. I don't care. I got bottles of limoncello, so I got enough that nobody will drive home.
Do you have like little cots as well? Because I could probably have one shot of limoncello and then I'm going to fall asleep. It's spring market, it's been a little busy.
Yeah, right. I've been meaning to call to get, because you guys got to come down.
Yeah.
Because I've been to your place. And according to Ray Brown's Talking Birds, there is no bird as a seagull.
No bird is a seagull.
He called up and he had some type of gull on there, and everybody was guessing seagulls. Everybody was wrong. They are gulls. The ones we have around here, the majority of them are black-back gulls.
Oh, okay.
Black-back gulls.
The word sea does not belong in that. That doesn't represent, even though I use the word all the time, seagull.
Yeah.
But technically, there's no such bird as a seagull.
Okay. Well, we were talking about illegals.
Illegal.
Yeah, I know that. What's the difference between unlawful and illegal?
Yes, absolutely.
Unlawful is against the law. Illegal is a sick bird.
Is a sick bird. Exactly. Dick, do me a favor. Can you leave your number again with Tim for us? I know we have it, but I just want to make sure that we do. So when we make a plan to come down and see you for that limoncello, I'm going to bring a bottle of Prosecco because we'll do Prosecco with limoncello in it. And you know what? Michael McNamara, if you listen to his show, he likes to put a little limoncello over his vanilla ice cream. So I'll have to take a shot back for him.
Do too.
Oh.
And I will be seeing Mike next Wednesday.
But bring him some limoncello. He'll love it.
Yeah.
Tell him it's a gift from me.
All right.
Sharon's going to take the lead.
Yeah, tell him it was my great idea. But Dick, thank you for calling in. Again, don't hang up. Tim's going to get your phone number, okay? So when we come down to see you. All right. Tell Jane we said hello.
All right. Good choice.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
I was
All right.
Bye-bye.
We I don't know if we said this, but we are live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube and everywhere. We're all the social media, so be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate and Sharon McNamara. But I was looking at Boston Connect Real Estate and I realized I should be looking at yours as well. So Kristen Howlett, who is a full-time realtor here in Boston Connect Real Estate, she is watching us and she is laughing. She said, "I'm here looking at myself in my own mirror," because in the beginning you said that. But she also said, "I always try and tell those details as we submit an offer. Sometimes buyers want to use that money to do repairs, as you said. With the buyer's approval, I give a simple snapshot of their situation. Sometimes it can look like a buyer is not strong when in fact they are very strong."
Yeah, and that's why Kristen Howlett is a very good agent, because she does take the time to do that. And I think that she's a master at her craft. She truly, truly is. She is a very, very good agent. She's very, very thorough. And this is the reason why we do our roundtables here at the office every Tuesday, because we're telling each other these types of things. We're giving each other these types of ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if this is what your client is doing on paper. And I think that that's such a great exercise for an agent. If you're working as a buyer's agent, and again, I think what makes me strong as a buyer's agent is because I'm a very strong listing agent. So I almost, as a buyer's agent, already can already think what that other listing agent is potentially going to say. So I think use perspective and put down your offer, and you know what, take it out of the contract even and put it in your own little spreadsheet and look at it and say, if I was the seller, what would my questions be? And that, Kristen, that is a really good idea. And we always call the people that we're putting offers in for as well. But as you know, with multiple offers, I mean, there are times when I get offers from people, I was like, did this agent even show the house? Remember we did that exercise one time? One time we had, I think it was actually on your house. We had how many, 24 offers?
24 offers, yeah.
We had 24 offers on your house. We had this spreadsheet. And what I did is I put it side by side with, my sign-in sheet for the open house and the showing time with the showings that we had. And there were a couple offers that were in there that the agent never went and saw. We've had this discussion and this debate on Clubhouse a lot. It's like, how do you best represent your buyer if you've never seen the damn house? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
That's just lazy. And I got to tell you, I'm going to go on a rant for one memento.
Okay.
You ready?
What do you think it's going to be? I feel like you're going to say something about the other day.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Because I just think I'm just so tired of this, because I feel like I'm always fighting for people to understand the value of a real estate agent, whether it's a listing agent or a seller's agent or a buyer's agent. I feel as if, why do we always have to prove our value? And it's because of agents who are lazy. I'm going to say it. I'm not saying anybody specifically around here.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody out. But I was going through two things. I was going through MLS the other day, and I'm looking at this listing, and the pictures are done with an iPhone from 2009. It's all grainy. They're all like portrait style, right? They're not filling the whole square. They look terrible. The house has been on the market, actually. It was on the market for like 34 days or something. And I was like, well, I wonder why. Like, you can't even see them. You can see somebody's legs like sitting on the couch. None of the information is filled in, right? So when we put a listing in, you have room sizes, and then you have description of the room. So like, what's in that room? It could be hardwood floors, a ceiling fan. It could be in the dining room, there's a chair rail. Maybe there's French doors. Maybe there's a slider to the back deck. There's all kinds of things that people probably want to know.
Yeah.
Don't take it that your pictures are going to tell the story, because you should have it in writing anyways, right? How do I know that those are really the pictures that go to that house?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm cranky right now. But like, that's one thing that bothers me. It's like, why do you deserve to even work and have that listing if you're not going to be thorough with it? But then even more so, one of our agents, I will not give names, I promise, because she wouldn't even give me the name of the agent because she was afraid that I would call. This agent called and said, texted her and said, so she had a new listing. Somebody called, wanted to see it. She said, sure, I can fit you in at this time, but I have a CMA. So like, she was really squeezing her time, but she was like, yes, I will do it.
Were
right?
they accompanied showings?
It wasn't a company showing.
Okay.
The person said that they weren't working with an agent.
Okay.
So she said, I will fit it in between, because that worked out best for both of them. So the appointment was set. An agent texts her and says, my client's mother jumped the gun and called you and set up an appointment for your new listing. I just wanted to let you know that after the showing, if my client likes that property, I will be taking the transaction over from that point and writing up the offer for her.
Mm-hmm. No. No.
It's not even that often that I'm speechless.
Then you should show it.
Then you have to show it. This is where we got here. I don't even know how we did get here, but this is, I'm talking about different, multiple offer situations, and then agents who never saw the property. And yes, the fiduciary responsibility is to the seller. I understand that. Should have she still shown it? No. We have an open house, and you can show it. And if she couldn't because she was on vacation. So when you go on vacation and you're a real estate agent, what do you think you should do?
Get coverage.
You should have coverage. And if you can't get coverage, who should cover for you?
Your broker.
Yeah, your broker or a manager or somebody should do that. So anyways, that was my story. So anyways, that's why you should hire us. We don't do that crap.
Hire us. I'm doing jazz hands
and all that jazz. All right. So back to contingency. So one of the things that we are looking at for, those contingencies or the concessions is, is that going to be a detriment when the house has to appraise? Now, another thing that comes up a lot too is, even if the house has to appraise at sale price or above, isn't written into the contract, so the offer to purchase. So in Massachusetts, we have 2 steps, where in other parts of the country they don't. So we have the offer to purchase, then we go to purchase and sales agreement. If it isn't written there, one of the things that we're always looking at, and I love when you guys do this for me with all the sheets, is like you highlight it in the pre-approval. Because in the pre-approval letter, it possibly will say, those are the things where it will say contingent upon buyer selling their house at 123 Main Street.
Yeah.
Contingent upon.
Which we found before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They try to hide it in different places. Contingent upon the house appraising at or above sale price. So we're always looking at that loan to value ratio to make sure that happens. Kristen Hallett, who had just reached out to us, it looks like Dee did as well. She said, good morning, Dee. Kristen had said, always call, if you're the buyer's agent, always call the listing agent. And the listing agent should take the time to have that conversation with you, because you want to know the most. So, for example, when I am meeting with the seller to go over all the offers, I would say, well, and I don't know who the agents are when they do the spreadsheet for me. They don't tell me who the offer is from, just in case it is from anybody in my office. So I don't know who the agent is, but I would say, in certain circumstances, I would, right? So if an agent called me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, this is the situation. I know my client is looking for this, for this concession for closing costs. It's really because they just want to put all the money that they have liquid into, repairs and renovations when they move in. That is something that I will put in my notes section in my spreadsheet. So when I'm going over those offers with the seller, I can say to them, they do have liquidity, so we don't want to look at this as if they're not financially able. I just want you to look at this, and these are the reasons why. But then as the listing agent, I would go back and say, hey, if there is any differential between what the house is appraised for and what your sale price is, that you would have to come up with that differential.
Yeah.
So we just put that into the contract.
Yeah. Getting to concessions sort of maybe as a disadvantage. So for buyers, it could result in a higher purchase price if concessions are used to offset the costs. The may limit negotiation power if a buyer is relying on concessions, because there may be another buyer that you're up against that it does not need a concession. So they could possibly be offering more.
That's one thing too. So I recently put an offer in for a client that's moving here from out of state, and she had a very, very strong offer. But now when you're competing against other offers, it isn't just the sale price, it's everything else. And one of the contingencies that she has in there is a home inspection. And I don't think that she should waive that at all. We never, ever, ever recommend that. But we see a lot of people doing that. Sorry, Tim, I had to clear my throat. I don't have a mute button. Maybe we can get one of those. Clearly my medicine has not kicked in yet. Actually, did I take it? Yeah, I think I did. So anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, Mel. Sorry. So sorry.
Okay. So for sellers, it reduces net proceeds from the sale. Obviously, we said that earlier. May attract buyers looking for concessions without serious intent to purchase. It does open up sort of the possibility of more offers if a seller is offering a concession. Did you remember?
I did remember.
Okay,
so the thing is with the concessions too, sometimes the reason why the person doesn't have a lot of liquidity is because they are selling a house. But in order to make their offer look good, and this is one of the things like Kristen said, what she did, this is what I did for the offers that I've put in for her is like, hey, I just want to let you know I know it looks like she isn't putting a lot down, like she's putting down 5%. I know that doesn't look like a lot, but just so you know, we are going to be, she is going to be selling her house, but this sale is not contingent upon the sale of her house. However, if her house should sell beforehand, then she'll be putting down a very large lump sum after the fact.
Yeah.
So, but still, when you're going against people who are cash and don't have to, worry about that, that's when you tend to lose out. And I liked your little tidbit there about the buyers. One of the things that works against them is, when you were talking about the sellers and the net proceeds to the seller. So if the house is on for 500 again, and then they say 510, but then there are some circumstances where the person will say, okay, your house is on the market for 500. I'm going to offer you 500. And then written down in a paragraph, somebody typed in with the same exact font that it's contingent upon the seller giving $10,000 towards closing costs, escrows, and prepaids.
Yeah.
Well, now your net from that is 490, not 500.
Yeah. Yep.
And I liked your other thing too about, sorry, you just had so many good points in one sentence. But one of the things that you had said is, does it put the the buyer at a disadvantage?
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, it potentially does, because and it did for my client, you're up against other offers that are very clean, and everybody's heard my scenario about the hairy legs. So the hairy leg syndrome.
Yeah. I said may limit negotiation power if relying heavily on seller concessions. And I've been there. So yeah, it's just another contingency that you're adding to your offer. But you know what? At the end of the day, if that's something that you need, then you continue to do it. Continue to offer it. Continue to put it into your offers when offering on a home, because money just doesn't fall from the sky. So if you need it, that's why there's a contingency, or you can ask for a concession in that sense. Another thing is it could lead to appraisal issues if concessions are not properly accounted for as well. So,
yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking at our agenda as well. And I like in there is, as a buyer's agent, if you're asking for this concession and you're, bidding over, plus you're adding more to it, and potentially, be prepared for the listing agent to say, hey, I'm really concerned about an appraisal issue here. Be prepared for that answer. And with an answer for that question, you should be looking at comps. You should be able to confidently say to the seller's agent, hey, I know that you did a very thorough job with your comps, but I also did some comps. And I think that this one would really constitute the value potentially being a little bit higher based on this, that, and the other thing. So, be prepared. We used to say to the girls when they were younger, come to the board prepared. I'm sure they'll be in therapy over that one day though. But I remember Casey wanted to go to surfing school in California, and surfing school in California, living on a tent. She was in middle school, right? And we said, come to the board prepared. And she did. She did a whole PowerPoint presentation. So we let her go.
and now she's a lawyer.
And now she's a lawyer. Yes, she is. All right. So we only have 4 minutes left. I'm just going to reach out real quick to, unless you had something, or do we have any other listeners?
No, I just wanted to give a little shout out to the new listings that we have, but anything else you want to?
Just, real quick. If there's anybody on Clubhouse that's listening, if any of you have any input that you would like to say regarding concessions or contingencies or situations that you've had, we have like 2 minutes that we can discuss some stuff. Is there anybody that has anything that they wanted to discuss? And it looks like no. So looks like they're just all listening in this morning. Nice. So let's talk about our new listings. Let's start with mine.
Okay, Sharon and Mary. Your new listing.
Yeah, so this morning I'm going to be from 11 to 1. I am going to be with Mr. Mark McNamara. We're going to be doing an open house from 11 to 1 over at 595 Washington Street over at Jefferson Square, Unit 7. It is a beautiful, beautiful townhouse. I was the listing agent on this project when it initially was developed. It's beautifully built. It has that townhouse feel. It has like that brownstone feel to it. Yeah. I love that. It has like a city vibe to it. So definitely check that out. It's on the market for $639,900.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
I was there last night.
I have another one coming up in Pembroke in a couple of weeks. I just want to say that. So more details to come about that, but that's a 3-bedroom cape that's coming up in Pembroke. I also have a 3-bedroom styled, like colonialish style older home in Quincy over in Marymount area. So if you're interested in either of those, give me a call, 781-294-4848. Also, I have something coming up in Duxbury. Sorry.
Anything else?
No, sorry. I told you I've been busy.
Yeah. Well, we've been telling everybody you sell real estate. So there you go. Emmy Flaherty, who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, has a new listing over at 18 Woodbine Ave in Pembroke. She is going to be there today, 1 to 3, and tomorrow, 10 to 12. That is on the market for $319,000. That is a waterfront property here in Pembroke.
On Little Sandy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Little Sandy. So be sure to check that out if you are, thinking about living on the water. Mm-hmm. Matt Mahoney, he has a new listing over at 41 Lorna Ave in Pembroke. That is doing an open house 11 to 1 today. He put that on the market for $449,900. Kristen Howlett, she is over at 265 Grange Park in Bridgewater today from 2 to 4, and tomorrow 11 to 2. That is on the market for $810,000. These are all great new listings.
Yeah, we have really good listings right now.
Yeah, the Grady team is over at 719 Ferry Street in Marshfield today from 10 to 11:30. That is on the market for $1.2999.
And that is a beautiful home. That is brand new construction. Yeah. And if you don't want the hassle of having a big yard, it's perfect. It's like so close to the beach and everything. So this time of year, it's a perfect house.
Yeah, and they're there tomorrow, 11 to 12:30 as well. And then, of course, Cushing Trails and Cochise Estates every single Saturday and Sunday. Cushing Trails 10 to 12. Those range from $570 to $630, correct? Yep. Mm-hmm. And then Cochise Estates is in West Bridgewater, 11 to 3 every Saturday and Sunday. Those range from $649 to $899. Mm-hmm. And those
actually range to $660, actually up to $700. So, yeah, all kinds of changes there. If you have any questions about any of the listing listings that we have here at Boston Connect Real Estate, feel free to go to bostonconnect.com. If you have any questions about my listings and the upcoming ones I have for me and my team, feel free to call me at 781-294-4848. Other than that, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we'll be back on Tuesday. And I don't know what our topic is yet, but I'm sure it will be fabulous. So we'll see you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
You be mine. Could you be mine?
Bye, Tim.
I have always wanted to have a neighbor.
The South Shore's breaking news, weather, and traffic station, 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Christopher Cruz. Parts of Southeast Texas have been...
All right, so now we don't hear the radio show. Hi, my Clubhouse friends. No one was talking. No one wanted to talk today. What was up, ladies? Still nobody wants to talk.
Good morning. I thought it was a great show.
Oh, all right. Thanks.
Super good to informative. Like all your listeners probably never heard. Like, what do you mean a contingency? What do you mean I can ask for for a seller's contingency?
Yeah, one of our listeners actually had reached out to me on Realtor.com oddly Tuesday night, and I just happened to be on my phone and I saw the alert come through, so I just called her right away and I was like, "Hi, I just saw that you had an inquiry on Realtor.com." She's like, "I listen to your show every Saturday and Tuesday, and I was just wondering, can you talk about this?" Because it happened. She sold her house like 4 years ago, and she had it happened to her, but she didn't fully understand it, and I was like, "Well, that's a problem." But she said, "If I ever sell my house that I'm in right now, though, I will use you." I was like, "Okay, thanks." So, anyways, and I know what the show's like. Sometimes I look over at Clubhouse and I was like, "Oh my God, they're probably like bored to tears," but I do like to get a little bit of personality and who we are and sort of keep it light, when we are on the show, like the guy Dick that called in. Can you hear the callers?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So Dick, he has just been a listener, and he comes in. He comes here. He is just funny, but he makes his own limoncello.
Oh God, Sharon, you told that. I wanted to comment on how well, like, you're such a great radio personality. No, really, just a pleasure to listen to. I love how you interacted with him about the Prosecco and how you are the limoncello and you're going to bring the Prosecco, and then the way that you like make sure you stay on the line. We're going to get your number and tell the wife hi. I mean, you were so personable and just so it was lovely, your interaction with him calling in. I thought that was so good.
And that's one of the things, like one of the parts I love about doing the radio. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time. So a lot of you listened to my show last week where I listened in with my brother-in-law and I stayed on with him. And that's where I got my start. I was the real estate expert. And a lot of times I'm actually very surprised that on Clubhouse, more people don't ask me how to do what I'm doing, because like right now I'm still live on YouTube. I'm live on Facebook. I'm still live, doing all these things. And I'm just it's surprising to me that more people on Facebook don't ask how, and why. And one of the things that I do as well is like, how do I leverage this? Like we're leveraging our open houses and things like that is, I do the show. It's professionally produced. They put in all the music and the sound and all those things. And then I make that my podcast. And then I'm able to have it live on YouTube. It's live on Facebook, so we're able to use it in so many other aspects. So the ROI on that is really good.
It just lives on. Yeah, it is phenomenal, really, what you're doing. I know no agent anywhere else doing it. And it's, you just diversify and then it lives on. It's phenomenal, Sharon. I'm really impressed with what you're doing. And move over, Larry King. Okay, yeah, you got the Emmy. You are nominated, whatever Emmy or award that is. But No, really, you're great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's like when I was said the other day, yesterday, I think it was, I was like, I want to do a podcast. And Kristen Howlett, who's one of our agents here at Boston Connect, she goes on to Clubhouse sometimes. And we always talk like, we just want to do a podcast. Like now I'm not live on the radio, so I can drop F-bombs and I can say shit or crap or whatever I want to say, I want to say that.
Oh, well.
I just
on
did.
Facebook, so
yeah, we're still on Facebook. That's okay. They can handle it. Facebook will probably shut it off. But to do a podcast and just sort of be real. Sometimes when I am on air, I have to I'm like, can I say that? Well, I just did.
yeah.
So
If Howard Stern can get away with it, I don't see why you can't.
yeah, why? Well, probably because I don't have his bankroll.
Yeah, he's on. Isn't he on like Sirius XM or something? Or
Yeah.
he's on something.
No, can you look into that? Get us on Sirius XM.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. It's a lot of money.
I know. All right, ladies. Well, anybody else have anything that they want to contribute or they want to talk about? And that's the other thing too is I know that there's like a handful, and again, I'm never going to take anybody away from other rooms. That's why I don't really promote it as much. There's a few of you and a handful of you that, join me every week. But if you get the opportunity to ever talk, I always do introduce you because you never know who is listening, right? So they potentially are looking to move to your neck of the woods. Did the guy from the Today Show, did he trademark that? Your neck of the woods?
Oh,
What was his
Al
name?
Roker?
No, and you're so young. He used to do the Welch's birthday.
Oh, the older gentleman.
Yeah. What was his name? Cindy, help me here, because I'm sure
Smuckers.
Smuckers.
Was it Smuckers or Welch's?
I have no idea.
Wait a minute, Cindy. I'll see here. Okay, I'll take that because of never mind. Okay, the guy you got, the painter. The artist who would do those painting shows in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, his voice is fabulous, right? No, really, and now it's one of the trending songs on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere, but it's him talking about describing how he's creating this painting.
Oh my
It's really lovely. I've used it on a few of my reels.
Didn't he have like a perm?
Yes. He has a firm.
Yeah, the perm.
Oh,
that was
Lord.
priceless.
Yeah.
Absolutely
That was
priceless. So, all right. Well, ladies, I am going to do a couple things. I have to look up some comps. I want to go say hello. Actually, Mark, can you bring my dad over so he can say hi to people? Mark went and picked up my father this morning in Millie, so in his antique truck, and he came here he comes. He is walking very slow today. He seems out of it. Hey, Dad. Come here. Come say hello. Here, speak into the microphone. We're not on WATD. It's just the people here. Can you put the headphones on? You okay? Did you sleep okay last night? What's up?
Yeah, I slept good.
Yeah? You look a little sleepy. Here, put the headphones on. Sorry, guys. There you go. You can just stand. Just stand, Dad. Yeah. All right. When you topple over onto this glass table and break your head open. All right.
Okay.
We're just gonna put the headphones on you. Okay. Can you hear it? Can you hear in there? All right.
Yeah.
So here. Now say hello.
Hello.
Here, talk into this.
Good morning. Good morning.
Talk into that.
Good morning.
Yeah. See. Now you're live on the radio, Dad. Now you know what it sounds like.
Oh, it sounds great.
So those are the people that you heard. Those are all your friends on Clubhouse.
Good morning.
Yeah, they're all busy today. They have open houses to do.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Any words of wisdom?
save your money.
Save your money. What kind of words of wisdom is that? Yeah. All right. Did you have a donut, Dad?
Yes, a nice honeydew.
Honeydew donut? Okay, nice.
Nice and juicy. And,
Juicy? A juicy donut does not sound good to me.
yeah, but you can.
It was soft. Moist. Wow, that's a worse word, Marcos.
Well, I used to sell peanuts.
Yeah, okay. Say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Yeah, take off the headphones. Mark will bring you back now, okay? Love you.
I love you.
Okay, bye. Yeah, they love you too.
Bye.
Have a great day.
All right.
He's so cute. Hey, Sharon, before you run,
Yeah.
and I haven't read through all of this yet, but I'm trying to still make sense of it. I think where the banks are at thus far but again, I'm still trying to read through this, is that when seller pays buyer compensation, that will not be part of the percentage cap for that particular loan.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm still reading through the most recent letter this morning.
Yeah, I thought that Mark had talked about it one day, but honestly, I didn't. Bye, Dad. Love you. Yeah, he is walking slowly today. Yeah, those are for him.
And it looks like August is our new, like, changes come into effect.
Yeah, I thought it was August too. And then somebody I was reading something yesterday in Clubhouse. Somebody said November, but who knows? You know what? And I also heard, like, we saw that Jared James thing where they're saying that that whole Zillow thing is probably doesn't abide by what the rules are. And I 100% agree. I think that that's going to be an issue. I reached out, interestingly, when that Zillow thing first came out that next morning and we were all talking about it. I reached out to the, I reached out to the MAR attorneys, but I haven't heard back from them yet. So I'm curious how that will all end. So
Part of me thinks they have no clue what to do. They